Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
Good. Good. Very good. I don't know. Just working, doing my thing. Just got Apple TV, so I'm like a whole new universe of stuff.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous because of the one show that everybody's been watching on Apple TV that just ended.
Ted Lasso?
Yes.
Yeah, it is excelente.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommend it. It is really fun.
This is what I hear. Well, very good. Well, all is well here too. It's we are having quite the monsoon season this year. We're getting daily rain, and some of it is like insane. Scott hasn't umpired in 3 days because the fields are just washed out every day. We've just had so much rain, and it's unseasonably cool. I am loving it. I have to help with a local fast pitch tournament this weekend. So I was looking at the temperatures to see if I was going to die or not. No. The high the first day is 65. The second day is 72. Hells yes.
Perfect. I know. We haven't been up in the 80s for a couple of weeks, which is great. I love it.
I know. I'm all about it. Hopefully July is not going to just come and punch us in the face, but it probably will.
There was so much standing water yesterday when I was out delivering, and I went by this llama ranch, and there were some darling little baby llamas out there.
Oh.
I wanted to run out and pet them all and kiss them on the lips, but I knew I'd probably get beat up, so I didn't. They were so cute, though. They're so fuzzy. Like, you can just see that they'd be really fun to pet, but I think
I love them.
Might kick my ass, so.
Well, and they do put llamas with other herds of stuff to be the protector. So
yeah, they can be a little.
They can be wieners, I think. So
yeah, that is what I've heard.
Well, we had llamas briefly, and we had remember Buttercup. So
I do.
So we had this llama named Buttercup, who would come from a petting zoo. So Buttercup was very used to being fed all the time, obviously, and apparently that's how they had ever been able to do anything with Buttercup was with another snack. Well, I don't know what they were feeding Buttercup in her last home, but in mine, the only thing she would eat is graham crackers as a treat. And if you didn't bring her graham crackers, she would spit in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you what, that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you. That's like having stomach bile blown in your eyes.
Ugh.
With bits of hay in it. It's the grossest thing you've ever imagined. And our pasture, our backyard, we have a big fenced backyard, and then it opens up into our pasture. But to get to the barn, where the hay is in the very back corner. So you had to go all the way through the pasture to the other side to get to the hay to feed her and everyone else out there, the chickens and the turkeys and the donkey. And yes, I know. And
she did have all of that at one point.
And Buttercup.
Some really stinky goats. Ugh.
Oh, the goats. Oh, God. That was no. But so it was a real problem because if we were out of graham crackers, plus I'd have to do this. I'd take a sheet of graham crackers. I'd break them in several pieces. I'd have to sneak some into my pocket and get out there, feed her some graham crackers, and then hustle to the barn and get the hay out and be ready to feed her some more, or she'd still spit in my face. And I'm telling you what, by God, that's a bad experience.
She had such a sweet, docile name, but it wasn't true
at
all.
And she was this chocolatey brown color, kind of a lighter brown body and a darker brown face. My God, she was darling. And when she was being nice, she was wonderful. You could pet her and love on her, and she'd rub her head and face all over your face and be so lovey and sweet, but you couldn't trust it. because that bitch would blow
Mm-mm.
you in the face too. I mean, oh my
Ugh,
God, awful. Yeah.
yikes.
And there were days because, life happens that I didn't have any graham crackers.
Right?
Do you think she'd take a piece of bread or a handful of Cheerios or any other thing? No, ma'am, she would not.
No. Yeah, no.
It was graham crackers only. But I had kids who would eat the graham crackers. So you'd go feed out in the pasture and the graham crackers were gone. Anyway, enough of all of that, except for that if anyone ever offers you a buttercup or a llama named Buttercup for a real good deal, just don't. Say no.
Yeah. They offer you any boy goats, also say no.
Yeah. Mm-mm. No. No, do not take just don't take goats at all. Goats are cute and just so naughty. So naughty. We just couldn't keep the goats in. We could not keep them in. And they were constantly getting out. The neighbors' dogs kept breaking down our fence and letting the goats out. It was bad. So we rehomed them to some friends who had a better setup for them. But my God, they stunk. Oh, yeah. We learned pretty quick that we wanted to be hobby farmers, but no.
I just want an alpaca. Just one.
Oh no, we
Live in
said
my
she lived
backyard.
at a ranch with alpacas. Yeah.
Aw.
But they also went through it. Yeah, alpacas can be jerks too. Yeah. For
Oh
sure.
yeah. I'm sure they can be, but God, they're cute.
So sweet. Yeah. But anyway, there's all kinds of things going on in the crime-averse.
Right?
And Amy said we almost bought 10 acres and we were going to have goats and donkeys. Listen, I love donkeys. I love donkeys like nobody's business. I see these little mini donkeys and I just
Yeah.
wonder how, if they would fit on the couch with the pigs or how this would work. They need their own couch. I don't know.
Oh my God.
But we did have a donkey for a while. And he was super cool. But he did not like the kids at all. And actually, he'd let Micah was like 7. So he'd let Micah get on his back. And like he was going to trot around the pasture with him. And then he'd run hard and fast and then just lurch to a halt. And Micah would tumble over his head. And then he'd try it again and it would happen again. And yeah, I was convinced that he was doing it on purpose. He loved it. But he also went to a new home with the goats because we realized that we really weren't hobby farmers at all. What about a pretty peacock? See, I would have peacocks all day long, but I live against the highway and they would just not be safe. I would have peacocks. I had guineas for years and I loved my guineas.
Oh,
I would
they were
have
so
guineas.
cute.
I'd have guineas again. The only reason I stopped having guineas is the neighbors' dogs. There for a while. We had some neighbor dogs that were super bad that just kept raising hell. They killed a lot of our chickens. They killed all of our guineas eventually. But they don't live here anymore. And so, and believe you me, the police didn't give a damn about it. But anyway, but yes, I do peacocks in a heartbeat. Love them. So yes, Lindsay, you are reading my mind. There is a Lori Daybell hearing in the morning, 9:30 in the morning at the Fremont County Courthouse, and we will be there.
We've had a reprieve from court. Now my butt's got to be ready for those damn pews again. Oh.
Yep, we're back for Relief Society and the Goblin and all of the other players that will probably be there too.
Yikes.
But we're going. Yeah, so we'll live tweet it and live Facebook it per normal. And then we'll do a live later in the day tomorrow to tell you all about it. This is a discussion about the defense's motion for a new retrial.
It's going to be interesting.
I can't wait to hear all of the arguments.
Yeah. This could get pretty heated because they're literally asking the judge to
overrule himself.
His own ruling on the full 403B prior bad acts stuff, which is pretty ballsy to ask the judge to override himself.
Yeah.
Just don't think it's going to happen.
Just some more of that 404B. Does Lori have visitors? She could. Though at that jail, I think the only in-person visitors they can still have are clergy or attorneys. Otherwise, it's all over
The video call
the
system.
tablets. Yeah, the video tablet things and the
Tellmate.
yeah, Tellmate. Yeah. So that's all. So Debbie, potentially she's having visitors that way. I don't know that she's got any clergy that's coming to see her, but she apparently her mother has been. They have had some contact over Tellmate
Mm.
before the trial, so she may still be having some of that, but that would be all she's having. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yes, 9:30 Mountain Time. Yep. Thank you, Kristi. Yep.
We
So
shall be there.
watch for that. The other note in Daybell Vallow is that Tammy's mother passed. So I wanted to share the
Wow.
statement from the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation. It is with heavy hearts that we share the news of the passing of Phyllis Douglas, the beloved matriarch of our family and honorary board member of the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation. She entered her 30-year battle against leukemia, surrounded by her loving husband and children, peacefully departing from this world Thursday evening. Phyllis was an extraordinary woman who dedicated her life to caring for everyone around her. She was a pillar of selfless love, showed strength in fighting against all odds, and had a sharp sense of humor. She walked through life with a green thumb, an open heart, and a wide smile. And if you've ever seen pictures of Phyllis, she looks like Tammy. They have the same smile.
Yep.
In honor of Phyllis, her husband Ron has requested, in lieu of flowers, donations be made to the Tammy Douglas Daybell Foundation. Your generous contributions will help us to continue our mission of getting books into the hands of children, fostering a lifelong love of reading, and honoring the legacy of their dearly missed daughter, Tammy. During this difficult time, we ask that you respect the privacy of the Douglas family as they grieve the loss of their mother. Your thoughts, prayers, and support are always truly welcomed. Phyllis, you'll forever be in our hearts. We love you. Rest in peace. And the ducks. They've got all these sweet ducks. It's not just Tammy and her ducks now. Now it's Tammy and Mom, which I thought was really sweet.
Ducks, yeah, that's really sweet.
Yeah. Judge Boyce, you should have let him have a camera. You should have let him watch from their living room. Phyllis was dying. You should have let them.
Yeah.
Yep. But at least, yep, you're right, Amy. At least she got to witness a little justice before she left. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what's up.
The other thing in Vallow, though, is that they've determined who can give victim impact statements at the this is kind of gross. At her sentencing. So it will be Kay, Summer, and Tammy's sister. What's her name? Tammy's sister. I can't remember her name. Anyway, those are the only three people
Tammy's allowed. Sister, Lori's sister, Summer.
No, I said Summer.
So Summer. Okay.
Yeah. It's Kay, Summer, and...
That's right.
I can't believe I can't think of her name right now. But anyway, it's those three. Those are the only three victim impact statements that the judge is allowing.
Yeah. Quite a few more people applied.
Yes. Brandon Boudreau did. You know who didn't, though, are any of Tammy's kids.
Nope.
Tammy, it's so strange to me. They didn't attend any of the trial. They aren't giving victim impact statements. Like, they have been completely invisible in Lori's trial.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that has something to do with their dad's defense, but it's gross.
It's gross. Sad. What a dishonor to their mom. You know, I mean, we've tried really hard to be middle of the road, you know, and show them compassion, and I'm still there. But really, it's sad to me, really sad, that Tammy was murdered, and there has been really no acknowledgement from them. Yeah.
From them, yeah. It's just gross, man. To think that all of this has happened and that one of their mother's murders has now been convicted and they didn't participate at all. And they haven't asked to give a victim impact statement at the sentencing.
So, and actually, so I just looked it up because I had read this once before and forgot. I'm having spasms in my esophagus or my bronchioles, so I apologize.
Shoot.
I'm real coffee and shaky.
Mhm.
Colby Ryan, Summer Shiflett, and Kay Woodcock are the only people permitted to
Oh,
run their
that's
victim
right.
impact
That's right.
statement.
It's not Tammy's sister.
It's not Tammy's sister. It's Summer.
I
So
knew it was only
Colby,
3 people, but
Summer, and
it's
Kay.
so odd.
So Brandon Boudreaux, Vicky Hoban, who I believe is Tammy's sister or aunt, Larry Woodcock, and Rex Connor are all denied.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Hoban is Tammy's aunt, and Connor is Lori's uncle. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Why? Why couldn't all of those people? Why can't JJ's grandpa
Right.
make a victim's impact statement?
Yeah.
Yet again.
In many
Disgusting.
trials, there's a large number of people that give victim impact statements. To limit this to 3 people, what the hell is
All
Judge
I
Boyce
can
playing
think.
at, you know?
Well, these are my thoughts on it because I was so mad when I first read this and I was trying to talk myself through it. Here's what I think. Because again, these are those 3 who were deemed immediate family who could be in the courtroom regardless of who was giving testimony.
That's right.
This
That
is
they were
about
representative.
Chad's trial. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
This is about Chad's trial. None of the rest of them are going to be able to testify because of Chad's trial, because of
'Cause
whoever's going to be on the witness list there. It's
yeah,
what it's
I'm sure
about,
that's
but I
true,
still
but
hate it.
yeah, I do too. I don't think it's fair that these other people that have been impacted by these losses are not able to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not right.
But yeah, Lori's or Tammy's children would have been able to speak.
Yeah.
They would have had they wanted to, because they are immediate family. So that is sad. I think very disappointing. Yeah. All right. Well, with all of that ish, let me tell you a little bit about what went on in Irene Gakwa this week.
Yes.
So, as you know, Irene Gakwa is the Kenyan woman that is missing out of Wyoming, and Irene is her name. And she was engaged to a man named Nathan Heitman. And when Irene went missing 2 years ago, her bank account was drained. Her uh, email accounts were canceled and social media. Basically, Nathan just tried to wipe her off the map digitally as much as possible.
Because we all know he did physically too. It's just
Mhm.
not, they're not there yet, but come on.
Yes.
If she were just leave him, why would he close all those accounts and stuff, you know?
Right. So he has still never been charged, you're right, in her death, but he was charged in all of that other stuff, in the financial crimes. And he pled guilty a while ago to those. Well, he was finally sentenced today. So he was sentenced 3 to 6 years in prison and was remanded. So he's headed straight to prison. And hopefully, in the meantime, they're able to come up with, some murder charges for old Nathan. Because
Right.
where is Irene?
Yeah.
Her poor family is mostly in Kenya. She has a couple of brothers in the Boise area, or did when this happened. And nobody knows where Irene is. She is just vanished. And I'm glad that they've at least got this and they've got him in custody. But where's the real justice here?
Yeah.
This is Nathan. And as
Trash.
always, total trash. But as always, huge, huge props to the women, the people in that town who have tried so hard to keep awareness up. They have harassed the holy hell out of Nathan. They've
Yes,
done
they
an
have.
excellent job. They are still organizing and having searches for Irene. This is in Gillette, Wyoming. So good on them. Big props. Keep it up. Hopefully there'll be justice for Irene someday. But at least for now, we know exactly where Nathan's going to be.
No, that's good. Hopefully that will give them some time to figure out what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Now there's been a few things roll out in Kohberger. What you got?
Boy, they are fighting the fight.
Man, they are filing constantly.
Constantly. So this is interesting. They have filed for a motion to stay proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that on May 16th of this year, the grand jury indicted him on four first-degree murder charges plus the grand theft. And since then, there's been a lot of going back and forth on his team trying to get the record of the proceedings of the grand jury.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember with Chad, when he had his or really Lori too, when Chad had his preliminary hearing, and then when there was the grand jury, the defense wanted all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a really long time because it's a huge amount of information and testimony to put together.
Yeah.
So they filed a motion to make available the record of all proceedings of the grand jury and a motion requesting release of grand jury materials under qualified protective order.
Mm-hmm.
So then the state filed their response, and then a proposed order on May 30th. So they haven't totally reached an agreement on this yet because it's still in process. Like the transcripts aren't ready. None of it's going to be ready for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So the state filed in early June the state's supplemental response to defendants' motions regarding grand jury record and transcript, and there's a hearing coming up for that on the 26th. Because again, they're just, I think what's happening is they just aren't getting it as fast as they want it, and so they're just pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that Kohberger stood silent at his initial arraignment to preserve his right to contest the indictment itself. He did also assert his right to a speedy trial. So jury trial is scheduled to begin October 2nd. So they're saying, time is really important. But they're going to contest the indictment from the grand jury itself. Looks to me like they want to contest the way that the grand jury was chosen.
What?
Yeah, but they don't actually know how the grand jury was chosen because they haven't seen the they haven't seen the record yet. So they're seeking a stay of proceedings because within 7 days after the moving party discovers, or by the exercise of diligence could have discovered, the grounds therefore, and in any event before the trial jury is sworn to try the case, a party may move to stay the proceedings and in a criminal case to quash the indictment or for other appropriate relief on the ground of substantial failure to comply with this chapter in selecting the grand or trial jury. So they want to contest the way that the grand jury was chosen, therefore contest the indictment.
Sure.
So he seeks to stay the proceedings as appropriate relief while the matter of the grand jury record is argued and prepared. So, they're saying they only have until October 1st. And they've got to be working on the plans to contest the indictment. They can't even start on the trial yet, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard this defense attorney speak about there's never enough time for anything. So there's a trial, there's a hearing coming up on June 26th. We're probably going to hear more about this then. But yeah, that's some interesting stuff. So they're trying to stay the whole case until they get that information.
Interesting.
And I don't know for how many days that grand jury met or how many witnesses. Like when they met for a week at least a week in Daybell Vallow, and they had like 50 witnesses or something. Like it was a huge amount of information to compile into transcripts for the attorneys to get. And so I'm sure it just isn't done yet because it's only been a month. So that's what's going on.
But can we all just agree? You might not agree with everything going on in the U.S. right now, but can we just agree that people do not understand grand juries?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. I've seen a lot of ignorant things said about grand juries here recently, or the complete lack of understanding what a grand jury is or what they do. In regards to Trump recently, and then of course lots of other cases. But the two things have become ultimately clear: defense attorneys hate grand juries.
Well, they do because they're completely they
Mhm.
are outside of their control. See, they're all they
Yeah.
were prepping for the preliminary hearing that was
Yeah.
supposed to be at the end of this month,
Yeah.
and then got blindsided by this indictment because, of course, they don't know that this is happening,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, and so they're pissed. I'm sure
Yeah.
Kohberger's pissed, you know, because
Yeah.
he loves to be in control of things, that's for sure.
Mhm. Well, we
So
heard at
we'll
Daybell
see.
Vallow, we heard frequently about, especially from like Mark Means, well,
Hmm.
the grand jury, well, we don't know. There was a lot of,
Right, prior to, yeah.
well, and basically accusing the prosecution of being super unfair by doing a grand jury. They certainly have that at their disposal.
State law, you know, or federal law, depending.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I have an update on Wagner trial, don't you worry.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, Colleen. Exactly. People do not understand the purpose of a grand jury or who they are or what they do at all.
Right,
I've
it's
lightly done some educating, but it's not worth it in many circles.
well, and there's more than one kind
People
of
don't want
grand
to
jury, and I
understand.
think that's the other one. There's the indicting type, and then there's the investigation
Uh-huh.
type too. So, yeah, I agree that it's confusing, but I
It is,
think Kohberger's camp is pissed that this happened.
but in our study,
But
even
it's
like in high school of our justice system, do you remember being taught about grand juries? Because I don't.
no, I
I
don't
didn't really
know.
understand grand juries until I really dove into true crime. Even
Hmm.
then, I can't tell you that I'm an expert. Of course, I'm not. But I think it's interesting that grand
Hmm.
juries are so mysterious.
Hmm. Well, they are because it's a secret proceeding.
Right.
No one gets to even know it met unless they come down with an indictment. And there are
Right.
secret ones that are held that are investigated, like are investigatory,
Hmm.
that no one ever knows they were held at all.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
certainly defense attorneys do not agree with that, but
No,
it is what's allowed by the law
for
currently.
sure.
So,
For sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about Kouri Richins.
oh my gosh, right?
You guys
This
remember
chick.
this fool?
Whew.
This is the woman who poisoned her husband with fentanyl and murdered him, Eric Richins, in Utah. And then, of course, released a book all about how she and her children processed their grief to help others. So nice of you, Kouri.
Yes.
Well, then Kouri, of
So gross
course,
and
was
creepy.
arrested because, and in the indictment, man, they have a lot of evidence against Kouri. But she's really lawyered up high and is trying really hard. And she had court this week because they were for a bail hearing, and it was denied. So here's what the judge said. The judge said that Kouri poses a substantial danger to herself, family, and members of the community. The circumstances of this case weigh soundly against granting pretrial release of any kind, Third District Judge Richard Mrazek said Monday. Yeah, no bail. Basically, because poisoning is such a, well, this is what the prosecutor said. Poisoning is a disturbingly calculated murder method and money and ever present murder motive.
Yeah.
So she's not going unawares. Yeah.
Well, and the way that she turned the whole death of her husband into this big social media event with her book and made
Mhm.
profited off from it in such a disgusting way.
An arrogant man. Holy
Oh
cow.
God. I cannot imagine what
Murder
it's going
your
to be like to grow up
husband?
as her kids.
Yeah. So Eric's sister, Amy Richins, was able to share a victim impact statement as a part of the bail hearing, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah.
She said, Eric is gone and I am brokenhearted. He was my best friend and protector. I can never talk to him, never hug him, and never be more a part of his life. She also said that Kouri has kept their kids away from Eric's family and has told the kids that their father's family does not love them or want them. She said, I
Mm,
never knew evil like this existed. But here's the thing there, Kouri. You're going to go to prison. I am absolutely certain. The evidence against her
mhm.
is a lot. And Eric's family will raise your children because you're sure not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
I
sad.
know. Really interesting though that they see her as such a risk to the community still.
Yeah.
But I can see why.
Well, she sat in court in between her two defense attorneys, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue and shaking her head at things that were being said. And Kouri, shut the fuck
Yikes.
up.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. Nobody.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His family suspected from the beginning. He had already told
Mhm.
everybody if anything happened to him, it was her. He
Yeah.
already knew that she'd tried to poison him once before.
Yeah.
And right after he died, she attacked his sister and beat the crap out of her. It took 4 people to drag her off of his sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, the family
She's
knew from the
nuts.
get. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. They knew. They had accused her. They had not stopped talking about the fact that they believed that she had murdered Eric, and that bitch still published that book and was going on TV talking about the book and their grief and her
Right?
children, and boy, she was fearless. She really
Yeah.
thought she did something.
Psychopath, man.
Yeah, unbelievable. For sure. All righty. Well, speaking of unbelievable, give us the Wagner update.
Okay. So, pretty interesting what's happening. It looks as though, originally there was talk that there was going to be a trial for Billy Wagner III. This is the dad, he and his wife, and then his 2 sons, right?
Mhm.
They was thinking there was going to be a trial in October of this year. Well, that's not going to happen. He had to get a new judge.
Oh,
The new judge is Judge Robert Allen Corbin. The other judge retired.
oh,
The judge that just presided over George the Fourth's trial.
I would
Um,
retire too after
retired.
that.
Oh my God, that was
My
such a
God,
brutal trial.
it's
And
horror. Yeah.
you know that Angela and Jake have both taken plea deals, and so there will only be 2 trials
Yeah.
in this case. So he um so things are a bit up in the air right now because with the new judge, it's going to take more time because the judge is not up to speed on the case. But the other thing that's happening right now is that he is trying to get a change of venue.
Mhm.
He does not want to be tried in Pike County,
Mhm.
which I understand, although Pike County should get to try him because he killed people in Pike County, 9
Yeah.
of them. There's also some arguments over some audio files that
Yeah.
were made of him during the investigation, some wiretap conversations, and some arguments about whether or not that's going to be allowed in. There's also an interview that he gave to law enforcement right after the murders happened.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a while. He's facing 22 charges,
Mhm.
and they're thinking it's going to be sometime in 2024, but they don't even have really a good idea of when exactly even in 2024 yet,
Mhm.
because that getting a new judge really put a wrench in things,
Yeah.
because he's got to be able to get up to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the dad. Yeah, this is George the Third. So he's the
Mhm.
dad. He goes by Billy,
Yeah.
which helps. They are such a twisted family. I mean,
Oh,
they've done an unbelievably sick thing that they
and
did together.
with the rest of them pleading and being convicted, the fact that this asshole still thinks that he needs to have his day in court is really freaking
Right?
rich.
It really is.
Unbelievable.
Like, just plead, you jackass.
Right?
Everybody else is in prison for this now,
Mhm. You're
because
going there too.
George the Third was convicted on all counts last year.
Yeah.
But
This will
yeah,
be
I
no
mean,
different.
let's put everybody through this again,
Mhm.
and the trauma to the victim's family and the expense and everything, because he's gonna be convicted.
Mhm.
It's not like there's a question that he somehow. I know it is a little hard to keep this case, particularly where there's 2 Georges. It screws me up every time. But I have to
Mhm.
remember that Billy is the dad. Dad goes by Billy, and if I can remember that, that helps.
Mhm.
But yeah, to think that he has the gall to go to trial on this is it's such bullshit.
Mhm.
But it looks like that's the direction it's going, because they're looking for a change of venue right now. So
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Well, okay. We'll keep an eye on it.
yeah.
Speaking of keeping an eye on things,
Summer Wells.
Summer Wells. This is Summer Wells. Sorry, that's a bad picture. It kind of slays me that the missing and exploited children website puts out an updated picture of her, and all of the websites have them protected so that you can't download them. So that's really
Yeah, why
that's
would you
really
not want to put this
selfish.
picture
But
everywhere?
thanks for that. So we ended up with a pretty pixelated one. But of course, on the left is Summer around the age that she disappeared. And then on the right is an age progression. Summer disappeared 2 years ago tomorrow.
Yeah.
Summer, of course, disappeared from her home in Tennessee. Uh, her family believes she might have been abducted and taken down the hill behind their home. They live extremely rural. Now, a lot of people have blamed her parents, particularly dad. Dad has done some time in prison during this time due to drinking, and the other kids have been in the care of CPS. Like, it's really destroyed their family in every way.
Oh,
The
it has.
parents both passed a polygraph test, and the authorities really don't think that they had anything to do with it. Uh, but it's been a horrible, horrible situation for all of their family. Especially because we have reported on this before, but Summer's mother's sister, vanished 12 years before she did
Yeah. And
and has
she's never
also
been
never
found.
been found. Yeah.
It's such a weird coincidence,
Hmm.
like, I mean, I'm not saying that they're related because they're probably not, but I mean, how often does that happen in a family? For it to happen 2 times in a family? It's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. It's really hard to know. Yeah. Really sad. So, at any rate, we are still thinking about Summer. We still pull her up every so often and look to see if there's any updates. And obviously, the investigators in Tennessee are still thinking about Summer too. They said they still run down every lead they get, but that they just truly don't really have anything of any
She just
substantial.
vanished into thin air. I
Yeah,
mean, it's just,
yeah.
they have searched so many searches for that
Hmm.
kid.
Yeah, it's not for lack of trying. They have tried and tried and tried.
No.
The FBI has tried. Everyone has been involved in Summer Wells's
Mhm.
disappearance, and they've got nothing. So, but we wanted to remember Summer since tomorrow is the anniversary of her going missing. So, Kristi, why don't you talk to us about Brenner?
Yeah, just a little update, James Brenner. So James Brenner is the man who is tried in the Dylan Rounds missing persons assumed murder case. Dylan lived in southern Utah, Lucan, Utah, and he's from our area. He's actually from Yukon, Idaho. So they filed, his defense attorney has filed to get a co-counsel appointed in his case.
Yeah.
It was noted, though, that the state has said that they will not seek a death penalty
Hmm.
option in this case.
Yeah.
So it will be a first degree felony aggravated murder,
Hmm.
but the death penalty, it will not be a sentencing option. So that was something that's been a question that's been kicked around for a little while about whether they were going to go for the death penalty in this case or not, and they are not.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
Yep.
just wish he would give up where his body is so that his poor parents can have some
Hmm.
closure. His
Yep.
family, it's just really, I just really feel for them.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. For sure. But now we know no death penalty.
Hmm.
So,
I mean, which honestly means faster trial, a lot
yeah.
faster trial.
Yeah.
Um, right? Well, there's no deal. This was just
Yeah.
they opted not to. Where they have no body, I think that they may have determined that it's not worth going for the death penalty, that they
Hmm.
may not get it in this
Yeah.
case. I wish there would be a deal that would include his body, though. Sure
Hmm.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Yeah. Whoa. Uh, let's talk a little bit about Stephen Smith.
Yes.
So, Stephen Smith, if you don't remember, Stephen Smith is the young man that went missing near Moselle, the hunting property and the place that they mostly lived, the Murdaugh family in South Carolina, and the Alex Murdaugh, in case you don't know who I'm talking about. And Stephen died in 2017, I
think
believe,
so.
and his death was only very loosely investigated and then just kind of called a we don't know, a hit and run,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and a we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And people in that area, in the police reports, Buster Murdoch's name came up several times. And so, in the light of the fact that Buster's dad murdered his mom and brother, in light of the fact that Buster's brother, at the time of his murder, was getting ready to have to defend himself for being in a drunk boating accident where someone died, people
Mm-hmm.
went, mm-mm, we want to know more. Well, his mother, this absolutely lovely lady named Sandy Smith, who has had the help of some podcasters, Mandy Matney, and got an attorney, Eric Bland, from out there. Like she's had some really, really good help.
She
Started a
has.
GoFundMe right after Murdoch's conviction and was with the sole intent of being able to earn enough money there because she's not wealthy. She didn't have the money to do this on her own. And she's talked till she's blue in the face, but hasn't really been able to get anybody to take her very seriously, except for the
Right.
podcasters who are all screaming to high heaven that something stinks here.
Yeah.
Well, she was able to get enough money to have him exhumed, have a third party, help me,
Autopsy.
autopsy. I hate to tell you what was in my head. The thought was amputation. I'm like, that is wrong. That is definitely wrong.
That is definitely wrong. Yes.
Totally wrong. Gross. Shut up. Anyway, autopsy. And so her attorney, Eric Bland, is saying that they are hearing through the pipeline that there is a grand jury convening. So they're hoping that by Labor Day there are some charges filed. Spoiler alert, it sounds like it's not going to be against Buster.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of rumors around that, but there was never any evidence that it was
No.
Buster. It's just that he was adjacent to it.
Yeah.
But I don't care who it is, as long I'm
No.
just curious as to how her attorney knows that,
Yep.
because grand juries are supposed to be secret. No one is supposed to know that they've
I
been held.
know. Interesting. Yep.
And they convene one, no one's supposed to know about it at all. But I mean, I hope that's true, and I hope that they've got a great case against somebody, because
Well, it is the sled
Stephen Smith.
chief. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division chief has been keeping
Mhm.
the family updated, and this update
Ah,
is from them that
it's from
they
him.
have
Okay.
some individuals in mind who they think have some knowledge and responsibility, and that they are issuing subpoenas and warrants and are trying to get it in front of a grand jury. So,
Yeah. So they do have some persons of interest. Yeah, Colleen, that's so great.
yeah, it seems like they have two, Colleen. Yep. Yep. So, amazing. Hopefully, we will actually see some justice for Stephen and for his sweet, sweet mom. His mom absolutely broke my heart when she said, because she had made like, the GoFundMe made like 90 grand, maybe
Yeah, it made a
more.
lot of
It,
money.
it was at my last look, it was like $88,000. So she said that she had used the money that she needed to for his investigation and whatnot, but then she wanted to start a fund to help students that couldn't pay for their books, because
Mhm.
Stephen was a nursing student and really struggled to buy his books. And if you have been a college student or have any in your lives, you know that books,
Mhm.
particularly medical books, are horrifically expensive. And sometimes there's just not enough money at the end of the day. Grants, loans, jobs, IT, all of it. And so she, knowing how much Stephen struggled to pay for his books, wants to pay for books for other students who need help, which I thought was the kindest and sweetest thing.
Yeah.
So I would
She's a neat
imagine she
lady.
still gets to fulfill that dream. But
Oh, I bet.
good on you, Sandy. Yeah, good on you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about Delphi.
Let's do.
So, Richard Allen's camp, they have filed a motion in Lamine regarding ballistics. They want to throw
Oh.
out that ballistic evidence. They said that.
There's lots of questions about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. The attorneys say that they're pushing for a ruling that deems the examination of firearms and ammunition connected to the case as inadmissible. There is some very shaky evidence around the firearms. It's been shaky
There's
from the
that bullet
beginning.
that was never fired
Hmm.
that they found. That's not been, I don't know. I've wondered all along if they were going to get that thrown out because it's real shaky.
And if they get that thrown out, I'll be honest, and I know some of you are going to be super mad at me for saying this. I don't know that I think Richard Allen's the guy. Maybe he is. Maybe I'm wrong. But if we only went by the evidence that was in the affidavit, weak.
It's super weak, and without that bullet, it's like non-existent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the area that day. He says he was in the area that day. His car was in the area that day because he was in the area that day, along with a lot of other people. And I'm not saying it was or it wasn't him for sure. I don't know. I've been iffy about this arrest from the beginning. I thought that the affidavit was wildly weak. The ballistics, we've been saying that from the beginning, seemed really weak. And we'll see. We'll see. I
just think
hope.
they arrested him too soon.
Yeah.
They should have
And
had
maybe
more.
that's it.
And there's so much pressure on this case.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had nothing for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and so I get kind of where it came from, but
Yeah.
why arrest if that's all you've got?
Mm-hmm. I know. It just nothing about this has felt super good. So we'll see what happens. I really, really hope for the girls' family's sake that they really know what they're doing and what they've got. Because if
Yeah.
he gets exonerated, or not exonerated, but if they can't even take this to trial because they don't have enough evidence, and they probably do have more, Cranky. You're probably right about that. They probably do have more that they haven't released, and yet you got to make enough of a case to be able to have a case,
Right. Well, it makes me wonder though, if they get this ballistics evidence thrown out, will they have to come forward with something else that they've got
I
in
don't
order
know.
to be able to keep this from being dismissed?
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
It's a big concern, I think.
Yeah, maybe. And there's always been a huge question about what is his connection to the other guy, or is there one?
Right.
And
We
because
still
that's always
don't.
been very dicey too, and maybe there is one that we don't know about yet. All I'm going to say is I just feel like this case has been pretty shaky from the get-go, and I really wonder what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, I'm not surprised at all that they're asking for that. Even if they do leave it in, that's not going to be hard evidence for them to have uh, expert witnesses come in and poke the hell out of. It's just not. Yeah.
It's very
Klein, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now, Libby's phone video might be the thing. You're right, Heather. It
Mhm.
might be the thing, but
Because the public has never seen the whole thing. We've only seen
no.
that tiny little clip, and
Yep.
maybe Richard Allen is on it, and
Maybe.
let's hope so.
Yep. Because that would be a humongous blow. I'd be kind of surprised if it gets thrown out. However, again, I think expert witnesses will make mincemeat out of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll
They need
see.
more.
Yeah. Colleen thinks they have DNA. You're hoping that's what they hold back. And maybe so. DNA is a lot of
I
times
hope so.
something they don't hold back when they do an arrest affidavit, though.
That's the
But
thing. That arrest affidavit had so little on it
yeah.
that, yeah, hopefully
But
there's just lots more.
well, in fairness to them, I mean, to find a jury for this case, I
Oh my
mean,
Lord.
they thought it was going to be hard to find a fair jury for Lori Vallow. That was a piece of cake compared to what it's going to be like to find a fair jury for this one.
Yeah.
So it could be that they just put as little as humanly possible in the arrest affidavit. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I hope
Mhm.
I'm wrong. Please let me be wrong. I would love
Mhm.
to be wrong on this one, and I hope I am.
For
But
sure.
but it's definitely worrying me. It's worried me since they arrested him. But there we go. So, yeah, hopefully the video will solve their murder. You're right, Heather. Hopefully it will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Did we cover? Let me check my notes. Oh, Mark Bent. Mark Bent. Thank God for a commenter. Somebody commented on the video about Mark Bent, who said that he was knew Mark way back in the day in Seattle, and it reminded me what's going on with Mark Bent because it's been a hot minute. Now, who
Mm-hmm.
is Mark Bent, you might wonder, because it's been a hot minute. And this is a local case that you might not have heard about really anywhere else. So, Mark Bent is the guy who got arrested in Idaho Falls, here where we live, last fall when he posted on Facebook that he had just murdered somebody. You guys remember
Yeah.
this case?
Oh, yeah. I sure do.
And the guy that he murdered is a kid named Nick Bird, who is just 1 year older than my son, he was a friend of my son. Nick Bird's been in my home before. And I watched Nick wrestle for years. They were on the same wrestling squad. And apparently they had some. Nick had a car club. And this guy had kind of become involved with their car club and then got kicked out of the car club for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason. And he was pissed off about it and decided that the best thing he could do apparently is to murder Nick Bird. So
Yeah, it was terrible.
he shot Nick in the street a few times and then just drove away. And then a couple hours later, from the Best Buy parking lot, called the police and said, right after he posted a full confession on Facebook, called the police and said, I'm your guy. And the police went to the Best Buy parking lot and they arrested him. And we haven't heard much about it since. So when this
No.
guy mentioned Mark, I thought, huh, I've kind of let that one fall through the cracks. So we went and did a little bit of homework and learned a couple of things.
No, this happened in Idaho Falls, Idaho. This happened in my town.
Yeah. Yeah. So we learned a few interesting things. The first of which is that, they have a status conference coming up, and then pre-trial and the jury trial is starting on October 2nd. So that's all
Why?
coming.
Oh, I'm like, that's the judicial officer's name. Okay, I'm like, what? His name's Mark Bent, not Michael White. Gotcha.
No, but this is the one that really was of interest to me.
Yes.
Guys, his attorney is John Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wonder if we should go to this trial.
I know. It really makes me wonder if we should. They have it slated to last 8 days. So it's not going to be crazy long. We just might have to attend that one.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm very curious where he, confessed on Facebook, called and confessed to the 911 operator. Like, I really didn't expect that this was going to go to trial. So I'm curious now.
Right? Because then he pled not guilty.
What's his defense? Because all of those confessions were instigated by him. Like, the police weren't even involved at that point.
No.
So now what's he saying?
Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting. I will say that the guy who commented on our story about him said that his mental health has been a serious question for as long as he's known him, which has been about 20 years.
I would imagine so, considering what he did. So,
well, his litmus test on whether or not he was going to kill Nick Bird was whether or not he got fired from his job, which had absolutely nothing to do with Nick Bird. And he did get fired from his job, and it sounds like that was for really explosive, volatile, erratic behavior.
mm-hmm.
And that was his sign that it was time to kill Nick Bird.
This dude's not well.
Oh, he's from Seattle, Ferry. He's from Seattle. And the guy that commented on our story said that he had taken over Mark Bent's spot playing bass in a band that Mark had been in and had been asked to leave. So
he knew some things about him.
Had burned a lot of bridges over the years. Actually, I spent quite a lot of time stalking his Facebook page and Nick Bird's Facebook group, the car club group, and saw a lot of really interesting and concerning things from him. So over the years, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that's going to be coming up in the fall, and I think maybe we should attend that one. That's pretty interesting. Yeah. So I think, is that it? I think we did it.
I think we did. Did we say that Adam Montgomery was convicted? We talked about it last week, but I think the conviction came down after.
Oh,
our
maybe
live
it
stream.
did.
But
Maybe
he
it did.
was
Yes.
found
Yep.
guilty on all those weapons charges.
Yeah. Yep. And so
Still,
now,
awaiting, trial on Harmony.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, and that's coming. I'm not sure when the trial for Harmony is. I think it's
I'm
still
not
a
sure
little
if it's
bit, a little
been.
ways out.
I'm not sure that there's a date yet, but
Yeah, but that's definitely coming.
that's another grand jury indictment.
Yeah, it is. Yep, that's coming. Well, there's a couple coming up that we haven't really covered. The Taylor, oh hell, do you know which one I'm talking about? You guys, this is
The
going to be a
kid,
trial.
the kid from Rigby that killed the 2 people in Rexburg. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
Taylor
Oh,
Shaw business.
oh, Shabusiness. Oh my God, yes.
Holy
Oh, you
shit.
guys.
We haven't covered it. I don't know if we will because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube. It is that bad. Yes, he
Well,
was
it's
found guilty on
basically
Harmony's
like
ninth birthday.
put
That's correct.
Letitia Stout and Daryl Brooks together, and you got what's her name, Shabusiness.
Uh-huh.
Holy crap!
If to just give you a tiny taste of how terrible this is and is going to be, Taylor is trying to get the sexual assault charge dropped because it happened after the death of the body of the victim.
Yeah.
And also because
Yeah.
the implement used was no longer connected to a body.
Yeah.
It is really, really
So
something.
she cut off his, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
Then you used it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so gross. She
So they're
is.
saying that wasn't sexual assault. They were dead.
I mean, can you imagine that that's your defense? It's unfathomable.
But Taylor's behavior in court is unbelievable.
It is.
Yeah.
It's. Yeah.
I think she's trying to put some of the rest of them to shame.
Right.
I can't even imagine what it's going to take.
She must have watched the Brooks trial and the Stout trial and went, I'm going to do one better.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine what it's going to take to be able to get through that trial with her behavior. It is something. So we'll probably cover parts of it. I don't think we're ever going to tell the whole story just because I'll just tell you guys, go do it yourselves.
It's really, really graphic. But
it's really graphic.
I think we should cover.
Yeah.
Yes, Kaylin. Letitia plus Daryl Brooks plus a rabid hyena with rabies. Yes.
Yes. And there is Taylor Shabusiness. Yep.
No
man.
joke. Yeah.
Pretty bad. Yeah, the desecration of a body does carry a pretty stiff penalty, I believe. Perhaps that, and maybe that's a part of their charges.
Oh, Paula, that's terrible, though. You can take that 2 ways.
Stiff penalty. Oh, Paula.
Got it. I got it. Yep. Got it.
Oh, no. It's really bad. The Taylor. Oh my God. Anyway, so I've been keeping an eye on it. We just haven't covered it because, well, I didn't want to, but so bad. Yep. This is meth. This was meth with her. So, blah. Really bad. Well, we're going to go to court in the morning. We will.
Yes, we are.
Obviously, we are going to text it and Facebook or tweet it and Facebook it per normal and be back tomorrow afternoon to talk about it. I think we'll do. Oh, Paula did not do that on purpose.
Well, Paula, here I am with my mind in the gutter.
Look at you. Well, either way, Paula, we love you very much. Should we just say we'll do our live at 4? Court's at 9:30. We should be able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. At 4
so let's plan on 4 p.m. Mountain. Tomorrow we'll be back to tell you what happened at court. Interested to see a few things. Is Lori going to be all gussied up now that she's actually convicted? Are we going to be back in the braids or have the tampon curls? Or are we going to decide that the curls actually are just from the braids? We've been trying to settle this for a while.
Want to know. We will try. We will be much closer to her than we went, because we were not in the room during her trial. Mm-hmm. So in these hearings, we are literally, she walks past us to get to her defense table and sits within feet of us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we will most certainly have more intel.
Mm-hmm. And I'm determined to just put a Post-it note over the back of my phone to make it very clear that no one is taking any pictures or filming anything, because the judge has gotten more and more wigged out about that. East
Okay.
Idaho News tried to get a camera in the courtroom for this hearing, and he said no, he's not
Yeah.
allowing it. Now, it will be live streamed. The sentencing on July 31st will be live streamed. We are hoping to go. We're planning on going. That is not a very big courtroom, and we're going to try.
Tiny.
However, we're still going to live stream it. So we'll do both. Scott's going to stay home and do the stream for us, though I don't know if you'll ever see his smiling face on camera. I very much doubt it. But but he is definitely going to he'll stream it for us so you guys can watch it. We will also be there and come back later to talk about it. So that's what's going to happen on the 31st of July. But until then, this is what we've got going on.
Yep.
Yeah. Pack your bra with sage. Probably should. I read a meme yesterday that said, I saged my house and woke up outside.
Oh.
What do they say? Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Too funny. Or we saw a t-shirt recently that said, when I think about you, I sage myself.
I love that one.
We could wear that to court, really, but you know. Kristi, Kaylin is requesting that you give Lori an extra dirty look for her.
Okay, I will.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
This one's for Kaylin.
You're loving her the whole time. Sometimes she looks right at us. I'm sure she wonders who we are because we've been in all of the local hearings for a long time.
Yeah, she'll look you right in the eye and you're like, oh, no, I don't. Where do I look? Not here.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't want.
What am I doing?
It's uncomfortable to look her in the face. Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. John Thomas, he always he looks you right in the face and gives you a big grin. And it kills me every time. And I have to smile back and be polite because I don't have a beef with John Thomas. But John Thomas, when he grins like that, looks just like a Muppet.
Yeah, he does. He does. Absolutely.
And it cracks me up.
Smile all the way.
Here's the real question. Will John Pryor be there?
I bet he's on the Zoom call.
On Skype or on Zoom. He may be. Yep. Because
I doubt
quite a bit of this.
Person.
I would doubt it too, but you never know. Now he's the one to watch out for, boy.
Ooh.
He is constantly trying to catch your eye and give you a big smile, and you're like,
but it's a creepy, weird kind of like I'm trying to be friendly, but I don't actually know how kind of smile. It's weird.
It's kind of like is this a smile? Am I doing it? Am I smiling now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, we're going to be John Thomas groupies now. Apparently, we're just going to be going to all of his trials.
Yes, but I think the Mark Bent trial will be very interesting.
I think we should go. Yeah. Well, and it's in October. Our schedule's free now that Chad's not going to go to trial till next year. So
right, that's true.
What have we got to do? Unless that has anything to do with any kind of timing for Nicholas Halliverdian, because then, sorry, Mark, you're out.
I mean, if by chance we get to go to Utah and see Nick Halliverdian in court, we probably will.
It was not John Thomas that said Chad had stupid books. That was
Archibald.
Yeah. Well, one of you made a point last week, Fran. I think it was you that said, is Lori even speaking to her attorneys? That's a good question, because she wasn't when she was convicted. She marched out of the room without a second look at them. She was pissed. So
yeah. How she wasn't seeing that coming, I really genuinely don't know.
No, I don't either. She really didn't, though. No, she really didn't.
Acted like she didn't.
Just astonishing. But anyway, I think we'll end it there. So thanks you guys so much for being here. We'll be back next week. All of our same stuff. Oh, man, we've got some bonkers cases rolling out. We've got a local one I cannot wait to tell you about.
Holy crap, don't we, though?
And a bunch of stuff, actually. But and a Patreon. Oh, I've got a Patreon. If you guys aren't a patron, you can be a patron by heading over to Patreon and just searching for True Crime Squad. And it's super cheap, but you can join and be a patron and be a part of that little insider squad, and you get 2 extra episodes a month. And oh man, I've got a good Patreon for you guys this month. Whew, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I have to think about what I'm gonna do.
You betcha. All righty. Well, guys, take care. Have a good night. Everyone, go do something good for yourselves. Have a cookie. Have a glass of wine. You know you deserve it. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.